Hello and welcome. In this new series of videos, we are going to explore the Indic philosophical schools of thought. We will be covering both heterodox and orthodox schools of thought, exploring their foundations, ideas, and their proponents. Every successive video in this series will deal with a specific school. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our updates. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Today we explore the Indic school of determinism known as Ajivik. Indic philosophical schools are categorized into orthodox and heterodox schools, which are Astic and Gnostic respectively. There are 6 orthodox schools which believe in the authority of the Vedas. These schools are also categorized as Astic schools by later scholars, as they tend to believe in the authority of God, also known as Ishvar in Sanskrit. However, this latter distinction is not accepted widely, as many schools which have been categorized as Astic and Gnostic tend to show overlapping characteristics found in both streams. Ajivik is one of the oldest schools of Indian philosophy and is categorized as the heterodox or Gnostic school. It is believed to have been founded in the 5th century BCE by Makali Ghoshal as a part of the Shraman movement, and is considered a major rival of Vedic religion, early Buddhism, and Jainism. Original scriptures of the Ajivik school of philosophy may once have existed, but these are currently unavailable and probably lost over time. Their theories are extracted from mentions of Ajivikas in the secondary sources of ancient Indian literature. The oldest descriptions of the Ajivikas and their founder Ghoshal can be found both in the Buddhist and Jain scriptures of ancient India. Many scholars question whether Ajivik philosophy has been fairly and completely summarized in these secondary sources, as they were written by groups competing with and adversarial to the philosophy and religious practices of the Ajivikas. It is therefore likely that much of the information available about the Ajivikas is inaccurate to some degree, and characterizations of them should be regarded carefully and critically. Ajivik means the follower of the way of life and is derived from Sanskrit word ajiv, meaning livelihood, lifelong, or mode of life. The name came to imply those who lived a good, simple, mendicant-like livelihood for their own sake and as part of their predeterministic beliefs, rather than for the sake of afterlife or motivated by any soteriological reasons. The Ajivik school is known for its fate doctrine, or niyati, of absolute fatalism or determinism, believing in the premise that there is no free will, that everything that has happened, is happening and will happen is entirely preordained and a function of cosmic principles. The predetermined fate of living beings and the impossibility to achieve liberation or moksha from the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is the major distinctive philosophical and metaphysical doctrine of their school. They considered the karma doctrine as a fallacy. Their metaphysics included a theory of atoms, or anu, which was later adapted in the Vaisheshik school. This theory proposes that everything is composed of atoms and the qualities emerged from aggregates of these atoms. But the aggregation and nature of these atoms was predetermined by cosmic laws and forces. Ajivikas were mostly considered as atheists, although they believed that in every living being, there is an Atma, a central premise of Vedic religion and Jainism. The problems of time and change was one of the main interests of the Ajivikas. Their views on this subject may have been influenced by Vedic sources, such as the hymn to call in the Atharvaveda. According to Ajivikas, everything in human life and universe is predetermined, operating out of cosmic principles, and true choice does not exist. The Buddhist and Jaina sources describe them as strict fatalists who did not believe in karma. The Ajivika's philosophy holds that all things are preordained, and therefore religious or ethical practice has no effect on one's future. They believe that people do things because cosmic principles make them do so, and all that will happen or will exist in future is already predetermined to be that way. No human effort could change this niyati, and karma doesn't exist. James Lochtefeld of the Carthage College summarizes this aspect of Ajivika belief as, "Life and the universe is like a ball of pre-wrapped up string, which unrolls until it was done and then goes no further." It is also important to note that the Ajivika's belief in predeterminism does not mean that they were pessimistic. Rather, just like Calvinists in Europe, the Ajivikas were optimists. They simply did not believe in the moral force of action, or in merits or demerits, or in afterlife to be affected because of one's actions. According to them, actions have immediate effects in one's current life but without any moral traces, and both the action and the effect is predetermined. Ajivikas believed that in every being there is a soul or Atma. However, unlike Jains and various orthodox schools of Hinduism that held that soul is formless, Ajivikas asserted that soul has a material form which helps in meditation. They also believed that the soul passes through many births and ultimately progresses unto its predestined nirvana or salvation. Many scholars believe that their theory of atomism provided the foundations of similar theories found in Jain, Buddhist, and Vedic traditions. Another doctrine of Ajivika's philosophy, according to Buddhist texts, was their antinomian ethics, meaning there exist no objective moral laws. They proposed, there is neither cause nor basis for either the sins or purity of living beings, and they become sinful or pure without any cause or basis. All beings that are born, have breath and life, are without power or strength or virtue, but are rather the result of destiny, chance, and nature. The belief of Ajivikas in absolute determinism and influence of cosmic forces led them to develop extensive sections in their texts on mapping the sun, moon, planets, stars, and their role in astrology and fortune-telling. Ajivik philosophy reached the height of its popularity during the rule of the Mauryan Emperor Bindusara around the 4th century BCE. This school of thought thereafter declined, but survived for nearly 2,000 years through the 13th and 14th centuries CE in the southern Indian states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Following the decline of the Maurya Empire in the 2nd century BCE, the Ajivikas find only occasional mentions in the Sanskrit literature and do not appear to have been serious rivals to other sections. The final version of the Buddhist and Jain scriptures were compiled at a later period, but the description of Ajivikas in these texts likely represents the conditions of the Maurya and pre-Maurya times. In northern India, Ajivikas may have become insignificant by the Shung period in the 1st century BCE, although they may have survived until the 15th century, as suggested by stray references to them in various texts. References in the Vayu Purana suggest that during the Gupta period between 4th to 6th century CE, the Ajivik practices had changed substantially, and their sect was declining rapidly. The 14th century Sarvadarshana Sangraha by Madhavacharya, a compendium of the Indian philosophical systems, makes no mention of Ajivikas, which indicates the decline of their sect. Today, most of their works are lost, but scholars believe that they greatly influenced other contemporary schools of thought, especially through their ideas of determinism and atomism. While many Buddhist and Jain texts accuse Ajivikas of immorality, unchastity, and worldliness, but Ajivikas lived a simple, peaceful, and ascetic life, practicing non-violence or ahimsa and vegetarianism. I hope you liked this video. Do let us know in the comments about your thoughts on this school of philosophy. Stay tuned by subscribing and pushing the bell icon, as in the next video in this series, we will be covering another school of Indic philosophy. As always, until next time, stay safe and keep exploring. Thanks for watching.